Welcome back in here on another episode of Believe in the Wolfpack. I'm your host, Luke Nichols. Today, we're going to be getting into some season predictions, some record predictions, specifically for NC State. After kind of, looking on Twitter and looking at the schedule itself, and a lot of people setting some high expectations, some, high win totals that I kind of expected, and in the back of my mind I haven't thoroughly thought about it the past couple of weeks, just because I've been kind of focused on just getting to week one, just and even then just focused on the entire college football landscape with the college football playoff and every team and where they're going to rank and who's going to be great, Heisman, all that stuff. But after looking at their schedule, I see why people have such high hopes for this NC State team that maybe I just needed to kind of realize as well. But before we get into that, the first AP poll, I guess the first preseason AP poll released just now, just a couple of minutes ago at the time that I'm recording. Georgia is first. They jumped 3 spots where, at the end of last year, the AP poll had Michigan up there. It had, I guess they had, Washington finishing second. Arizona dropped out. So who does it say who dropped out? No. Well, yeah, Washington did receive votes, so I imagine they dropped out. But this kind of takes into account how the Associated Press thinks that these teams are going to do this year compared to how they finished last year. So Georgia was what, 4th or 3rd? I guess 3rd. Last year, now they're first. Ohio State jumps up 8 spots to 2. So they'll start as the 2nd ranked team in the country. Oregon at 3. Still weird seeing Big Ten next to their name and not the Pac-12. A little upsetting, but whatever. Texas is 4th. They dropped a spot. I don't know how I messed that up. Alabama's at 5th. They don't move, even though it would have made sense if they dropped a couple spots just because of losing Saban, but who knows? Ole Miss jumped up 3 spots. High expectations for them this year. I personally have some high expectations for them. I think Lane Kiffin is a fantastic coach, and I think Jackson Dart, as long as he stays healthy, will be very, very good. Notre Dame is 7th. Penn State is 8th. I've said my spiel. I've went on my tangents about Notre Dame. I will never believe in Notre Dame. I don't care. The only time I will believe in Notre Dame is if they are in the national championship game and there's zeros on the clock in the 4th quarter and they have the lead. That is the only time I will believe in Notre Dame. Otherwise, being, the independent team, they have whatever half cupcake of a schedule that they make. Yeah, they have a few ranked games here and there, but they're always going to lose a bad game and then just completely take themselves out of contention for the championship. This year, they'll probably make the college football playoff, but I mean, if 12 teams are making it and you're Notre Dame, always have a great recruiting class, always in the top 25, at the very worst top 25. You're always around. You kind of have to make the college football playoff the first year that it extends to the 12 teams. Let me find their schedule this year before we get into NC State's. So they have Texas A&M to start. That'll be a tough game. Texas A&M is good. Then they have Northern Illinois, Purdue, Miami, Ohio, Louisville. Louisville's not bad. Stanford, Georgia Tech, Navy, Florida State, Virginia, Army, USC. So Texas A&M, tough game. Florida State, tough game. USC, maybe a tough game at that point in the season. They're home against Florida State. The other 2, they are away. But then it's like you have Miami, Ohio in here, Purdue, Northern Illinois, Stanford, Georgia Tech. Virginia might be all right. Georgia Tech might be okay. Louisville should be good-ish, I think. But then it's like they're not playing a real schedule. They're just kind of hopping all over the place. Like you have Navy, the 26th, and then Army. Like I don't know. You look at any Big Ten schedule or any SEC schedule, it is light years more difficult than this Notre Dame schedule. Let me look. Let me find just any SEC or Big Ten schedule, whatever conference comes up first here. All right, SEC. Let's look at Arkansas' schedule. Arkansas has whoever has their first game of the year where they can just blow a team out. Arkansas Pine Bluff is their first game. Then they have Oklahoma State, UAB, Auburn, Texas A&M, Tennessee, LSU, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Texas, Louisiana Tech, Missouri. They have a stretch where they play 5 ranked teams in 7 weeks. Texas A&M, well, as of right now, Texas A&M, Tennessee, LSU, they are all ranked. Texas A&M is 20th, Tennessee is 15th, LSU is 13th. Then you go Mississippi State. Oh no, this is 5 and 6. Oh, I was looking at Auburn. Whoops, Auburn is not ranked. But then you have Ole Miss and Texas. So this is 5 ranked games in 6 weeks. That's ridiculous. And even then, as it stands right now, I don't imagine. I don't imagine Ole Miss or Texas will drop in the rankings. If anything, I think they would move up a little bit. Texas A&M, not sure. Tennessee, I feel like they would move up. I have decent hopes for Tennessee this year. LSU maybe will move down, but that's in the heart of their schedule. And then they end the year with Missouri, who a lot of people very high hopes and high expectations for. They even start out the year. Yeah, they have that quick cupcake game against Arkansas Pine Bluff, and then UAB. But then they have Oklahoma State right in between that, and then they have to play at Auburn. Auburn may not be, top 25 to start the year, but playing at Auburn is going to be difficult for pretty much every team. And we saw, the Iron Bowl is different. The Iron Bowl is practically a coin flip no matter what. But this is an SEC. This is a true SEC schedule. And then when you compare it to Notre Dame's, it's like, oh my God, like how can you take them seriously? So you see Notre Dame beat Navy and Northern Illinois and who else was on there? Army or whatever. It's like, how can you take them seriously when they have those kind of games on their schedule? And then Arkansas, who is not ranked, could be better this year, has this and I get it's the SEC, so it's going to be tough, but this is the benefit of playing in a conference where you have these tougher games. So if you win some of these games, that looks better for your strength of schedule ranks and whatnot at the end of the year. I don't know. Tangent over about Notre Dame. I'm never going to believe in them. To make a long story short, Penn State, I've already said my case about Penn State. They're going to be like the 11th or 12th team in the college football playoff, lose that game and extend James Franklin. Michigan, Donovan Edwards is good. Florida State, DJ Uiagalelei, one of these days. I really think that's the correct pronunciation of his last name, but I've been a fan of his since that QB1 show, so I've always had kind of like a blind hope for him. Missouri already kind of went over them. I think they have the best wide receiver in the country this year. Could be a Heisman candidate. I didn't see the preseason Heisman stuff. I did see NC State got some love on pretty much nearly every preseason award prediction. Even Justin Jolly, our tight end, the JUCO transfer on what was the award? The best tight end in the country award. I forget what the name was. Was it the Maxwell? Or is that a quarterback one? Might have been the Maxwell. No, the Maxwell might be all around play. Regardless, Justin Jolly, our transfer from JUCO, the tight end, he got some love on a preseason awards watch list. That was cool to see. Then you have and then other notable teams. I won't go through all of them in the top 25. Clemson is the second ACC team on here. Florida State is the first. Clemson's at 14th. They moved up 6 spots. You have Miami. They're at 19. Kansas is at 22. That's big for them. I remember 2-3 years ago, that Kansas program stunk. Oh, they were terrible. And then NC State is at 24th, just sneaking in there. And then the Iowa defense and special teams is at 25. Specifically, their defense and special teams. That's what it says right here. But then, yeah, NC State is at 24, so they dropped 3 spots. Whatever. I mean, that's fine. I expected them to be in the top 25. I thought the very highest we would get put is 19th. So I'm fine with 24. Is any other Appalachian State got a vote for top 25? Colorado got one single vote to be in the top 25. Oh my god. One single vote. All right. Well, how did Dion get a vote on here? But so the top 3: Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon, and then Texas is 4th. That's the new AP poll for today. But getting to NC State's schedule and the prediction, I've seen a lot of people throwing around 10-2. I've seen a lot of people. I've seen some 11-1s, a few 9-3s. A lot of 8-4 would be a disappointment, which I agree with. 8-4 would be a big disappointment in my mind. So where I would start is I think the floor for this team should be 9-3. You got new weapons, new quarterback. You're coming off a somewhat successful year. You didn't win the Pop-Tart Bowl, but you made a bowl game with kind of a all-around weird year at quarterback, just going back and forth. So the fact that you have an established quarterback now in McCall, you have Jordan Waters, who should be the established running back, Concepcion, who is clearly our number 1 receiver, should be the guy with the most targets and receptions on the year. Go to him in a big spot. Go to him on every 3rd down possible, every 4th down conversion attempt possible. I don't care. Defense should be okay. Still some question marks over there in my mind, at least. But just looking at this schedule and the team that we have, this is a 10-2 schedule. This is an 11-1 schedule. 10-2 is the expectation for me. 11-1, I don't know. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but it seems realistic just on paper. On paper is everything. So you start off against Western Carolina on Thursday. That's in a couple of weeks by now. Come on. Then you have Tennessee. That's a tough game. That will be actually, let me see if I can refresh this, and then it has the ranking, just so I can see. Okay. So yeah, Tennessee, that's going to be a tough game. It's at a neutral site. It's that Duke's Mayo Bowl game. At least I think it's at a neutral site, or is it a home game? Let me check that real quick. Duke's Mayo Bowl 2024. Classic. Okay. So it's neutral site. It's in North Carolina. It's at the Bank of America Stadium. So I guess that's technically a neutral site, but anyway, so Tennessee, that's going to be a tough game. They have a new quarterback, so maybe going against an NC State defense, going against their first real opponent, maybe that'll be a tough one for him. Maybe we could get a big win there, because it was the same thing last year. Yeah, we beat Clemson, but just couldn't win those big games, those top 25 games. Then Louisiana Tech, and then Clemson. At Clemson, Saturday, September 21st. So Tennessee is a neutral site, and then 2 weeks later, you got Clemson. But then after that, it's Northern Illinois, Wake Forest, Syracuse, could be a toughish game. They might be all right. Cal, Stanford, who should be terrible. Duke, it's a home game, so at Georgia Tech, and at North Carolina to end the year, of course. So they absolutely need to win one of the Tennessee or the Clemson game. If they lose both, then, there's no chance that we make the playoff. There's zero chance. We'll get a bowl game, yeah, but there's zero chance we make the playoff or even get a decent bowl game. You have to win Tennessee or Clemson, because on paper right now, those are the 2 biggest tests of the year. So having that, strength of schedule at the end of the year that could help you get into the playoff, you have to win one of those games because they're going to look at the strength of schedule and say, they played Northern Illinois, Wake Forest, Cal, Stanford, nothing really there that's that impressive. Oh, but they beat Tennessee and Clemson at the time they were ranked 15 and 14. Oh, they, took them down pretty easily. They beat Clemson at Clemson. That's big. That is what gets you into the playoff. You can't lose both of those games and then go 10 and 2. So this is where I'm looking at 10 and 2 or 11 and 1, where if you lose both of those games and you go 10 and 2, that's okay. But like, we're going to drop one of these games. We're going to drop one of these games, whether it is to Syracuse, Duke, Georgia Tech, North Carolina. We're going to lose one of those games. It's just what happens. It's college football. So that's why you absolutely need to win Tennessee. There is a chance that, they don't drop any of those games, the last couple of games of the year, and they lose one of Tennessee and Clemson. That's where 11 and 1 comes in. But I'm expecting we beat one of Tennessee or Clemson and then lose to Syracuse, even though it's home. So maybe Georgia Tech. That's at Georgia Tech on a Thursday. It's kind of an awkward game that Georgia Tech might win, especially being on a Thursday. It's on ESPN too. Yeah, that'd be a big win for them. So that's my expectations for the year. You win one of Tennessee or Clemson. If I had to pick one that they're more likely to win, I would say Tennessee, just because they have that new quarterback. Like I said, I don't know how to. I'm not even gonna. Let me find that. But the fact that it's a neutral site game and just new quarterback, somewhat of a new team. I mean, they're still good. They're still a very good team. Don't get me wrong, but I think you kind of take advantage of him there. Let me find it. Where is it? What number is he? Do they even have numbers? Did I go past him? I must have went past him. Yeah, Nico. I'm a Leva. There's no chance I'm pronouncing that correctly. Nico. So they have a new quarterback, Nico. I'm hoping we can, get to him early and often and steal a win from them because they open up the season at or home against Chattanooga. So like, that's not a real. We will be their first real test. So if we can win that game, jump on them, get out to a lead, they have no chance at coming back. That'll be a big win early in the year against a ranked opponent where we would go from 24, we would jump into the top 20 bare minimum, I would imagine. And then they would drop a couple, so that could be big. Then if we beat Clemson 2 weeks later, that's massive. We beat Tennessee and Clemson to start the year, and we take care of business against Western Carolina and Louisiana Tech. We're 4-0. We're most likely a top 15, top 12 team. And then the rest of the season, you just have to take care of business. So I'm not expecting like undefeated. I mean, maybe Grayson McCall comes out and he shows out to be like a Heisman candidate. I don't know. But I'm expecting win one against Tennessee or Clemson. I'm going to go you win against Tennessee. Then you drop a stupid game because everyone drops a dumb game. Everyone loses. Like, how the hell did we lose that game? Like, what are we doing losing to Wake Forest? What are we doing losing to Syracuse or Georgia Tech? If I had to guess which one we would lose, I would say Syracuse or Georgia Tech. Syracuse, I don't know why I think that. It's just going with the gut on this one. And then Georgia Tech being at Georgia Tech on a short week, playing on Thursday night on ESPN. It's a weird game. So actually, no, it's not even a short week. We get a bye in between. Wait, is that Thanksgiving? That might be on Thanksgiving. What day is Thanksgiving this year? That just clicked. Sorry, I'm not thinking normal brain. I'm just thinking straight football brain. After Hard Knocks started, preseason games, training camps, AP poll came out. It's just all football on the brain right now. Maybe that's how I usually think, but I think that's a week before Thanksgiving. Okay. But still, we have a bye in between, so maybe we won't lose that game. All right, so maybe Syracuse is the game that we drop, the stupid game that we lose. Regardless, I'm going 10-2 as my official prediction for the year. Team MVP, Grayson McCall. It kind of has to be. If it's not, then it's probably KC. because I also have very high expectations for him this year. So I'm going 10-2, 11-1. Call me crazy. 11-1 is entirely possible in my mind. 9-3 is the floor. 9-3, you're not getting in the playoff. 9-3, you're not even sniffing the playoff. You're getting a bowl game, and that's pretty much it. 8-4 is a bad year. 8-4 is a bad year. And maybe that's a little crazy. You know, it's NC State, not talking about Ohio State or Oregon here. But looking at this team and looking at this schedule, 8-4 would be a bad year here. 8-4 in my mind, you lose to Tennessee, you lose to Clemson, you lose to North Carolina at the end of the year, and then you drop a dumb game in the middle of the year, like I keep saying, Syracuse, Georgia Tech, or Northern Illinois. 8-4 is a very bad year in my mind. 10-2 is and it should be the consensus expectation amongst NC State fans, and even in amongst the ACC. If you're a Florida State fan, if you're a Miami fan, wait, I'm just blanking on the other. Clemson. I'm looking at it right here. I was kind of going for like the top teams, the other teams in the top 25. If you're one of those fans and you look at, the teams around the ACC, their schedules, what they should go, you should look at this schedule for NC State and think, oh, they should go 10-2 this year. They should go maybe 11-1, 9-3 at the worst. It feels like the safe pick and the consensus pick in my mind. So 10-2 is the expectation. 11-1 would be fantastic. 12-0, highly unlikely, but my God, that would be awesome. We could be 12-0. If we finish 12-0, then we would absolutely be in the ACC championship game. That's the thing too. We should be in the ACC championship game. They should absolutely be in the ACC championship game at the end of the year, playing Florida State, Clemson, Miami, whomever. They have to be in the ACC championship game. Also, to get into the college football playoff, you kind of have to be in and probably win the ACC championship game. Maybe you could lose it if you have a impressive enough resume and still get into the playoff, but just win it. Just win every game. It's so easy. Duh. Gonna take a short break here. When we come back, gonna wrap up talking about the Olympics. They just wrapped up yesterday, and why the most patriotic I've ever felt was watching our men's basketball team beat Serbia, then beat France, and then also watching the women's 4x400 race in track. Oh my God. Cooked them. Wasn't even close. I couldn't tell you who came in second and third. They might as well have finished last and dead last. Just not even close. It was incredible. It was great. Stick with us here on Believe in the Wolfpack. All right, welcome back in here on Believe in the Wolfpack. Gonna wrap it up talking about some Olympic stuff, and actually, I want to get to this one a little football annoyance complaint that I've seen on Twitter. Well, that's cool. As I've said, very football minded right now. I'm holding one of the official NFL footballs just because I feel like it feels good to hold the football. College football is so close. We're so close. We're right there. But I've been seeing this like little meme on Twitter where it's like, oh, NFL fans have it so hard, and the one side is like a guy smiling, and it's like the Chiefs and the Ravens and the 49ers, like, it's great teams complaining that they have it so hard. Then the other side is like a mad face of the same person, and then it says like we know, and it's like all the terrible teams who have been so bad for a while, like the Browns, the Jaguars, the like Cardinals even. And there's like some teams on either side that just should not belong on either side. Like, we can't just think year by year with this, because on the one side where it's like legitimately complaining that the fans have it so hard, was the Patriots logo, saying that the Patriots fans have it so hard. Shut up. Shut up. You just had the last 20-something years. Stop it. No, we're not doing that. No. 6 Super Bowls, right? 6 Super Bowls. And, in my lifetime, the Patriots have won 6 Super Bowls. I would be able to remember 3 of them. if I was a Patriots fan. I wouldn't remember the first. Well, I remember the one because it was on my birthday when they beat the Eagles. That was crazy. Um, but yeah, so Patriots fans, shut up. Also, the one, I don't know what fan made this, but on the side where it's like, fake complaining that, oh, it's so hard, but they actually have it so good, was the Lions logo. Let's relax. The Lions had one good year. And if I, had to make an NFL prediction right now, I would say the Lions are going to be in the Super Bowl this upcoming year. But just why are they there? Absolutely not. Without that last year they just had, they are one of the worst franchises of all time in terms of success. That is awful. Do not put them on the same side as the Chiefs. Do not do that. Or the Niners, or the Ravens, or even the Eagles, who've had it pretty nice these last couple of years. But do not put the Lions over there. That is disrespectful to Lions fans. You ask any Lions fan, how is it to be a Lions fan? Their first reaction is probably going to be a deep sigh and say, well, it's been good. It was good last year and maybe this year, but outside of that, it's been tough. There's been some downtimes. Aaron Rodgers, bad man, all that. The Jets you can keep on the side where they actually struggle because it's the Jets. The fact that the NFL put the Jets on Monday Night Football a second straight year after the Aaron Rodgers torn Achilles last year on Monday Night Football, that's mean. That is mean, and I see what you're doing, NFL, and it's a little bit funny, but it's mostly mean. Just hoping that the first game goes differently for Jets fans. I actually do want to see Aaron Rodgers actually play. I would like to see the Jets be successful because it would just set up for another just massive collapse in the playoffs. Because, yeah, Aaron Rodgers has the one Super Bowl, but he's just choked in NFC Championship games all the time with the Packers. I also have high hopes for the Packers, too. I think Jordan Love, although he got paid after only playing well in, 8 games, someone said, I do think they're going to be really good. I really like their receiving core, how it's a bunch of young guys. They may not have, an elite receiver. Like, they don't have, an A.J. Brown. They don't have, a CeeDee Lamb, a Tyreek Hill, a Justin Jefferson. But they just have a bunch of solid dudes. Like, they just got good depth. Dontavian Wick's good. Jaden Reed, probably their best receiver. Romeo Dobbs, another guy I'm forgetting. And then even Josh Jacobs at running back he had a down year last year, but I think he'll be much better this year. Where the Raiders were terrible, he'll be on a better team, so he'll just be better overall. That's my little tangent about NFL fans, spoiled NFL fans who try to be like, woe is me, shut up. Even I feel like that's a lot of Boston fans do that, where they try to do the whole woe is me, we have it so tough. The Celtics only won a championship before this in 2008, and the Red Sox haven't won a championship since 2018. Wah. God, the Patriots have gone so long without one. You ask any Patriots fan, I feel like you ask any Patriots fan who's over the age of 30, how was it as a Patriots fan before Tom Brady happened? It was probably a nightmare because they stunk. What, they go to 2 Super Bowls and lose both of them? I think they lost the Super Bowl to the Bears in 85, and then they lost the Super Bowl to the Packers when Brett Favre won it. What was that, 96 or 97? So they only been to 2 Super Bowls before that, and outside of that, they were terrible. They were impressively mediocre up until Tom Brady gets there, and they're a dynasty and now have 6 Super Bowls. I don't know. I'm tired. It's annoying. I don't like any of the Boston teams. I don't like the fans. I don't like them. What was it? Oh, the Olympics. That's what it is. Yeah, that was incredible. Those last 2 basketball games were some of the best just pure basketball games I have watched in my lifetime. It's so different from the NBA. There's no commercials. There's barely any commercials. There's barely any timeouts. We're not reviewing every single play. We're not reviewing every single foul. We're not stopping the game for no reason. They're letting them play. It's physical. It's a different style of basketball. It's just all these guys coming together. And the big piece is with LeBron, Curry, and KD all being on the same team for most likely the last time, the first time and the last time, because Curry wasn't on any of those Olympic teams in years past. Obviously, KD and LeBron were on the 2012 team, but they didn't play in 2016. They didn't play in technically 2021. Well, KD did, but LeBron didn't. So then you have KD, LeBron, and Steph all on the team again, and just seeing them like after they've been the faces of the NBA in the 2010s and they're on the back ends of their career, even though they're in their prime, and to see them all playing so well and to see Steph Curry just be Steph Curry and just catch fire and shooting it over the two defenders, Batum and whoever else, making a three over Wembanyama, just going crazy in both fourth quarters, but especially the last fourth quarter against France. And just watching them just be a team and the camaraderie between them was incredible. Oh my God, it was great. Like I said, the basketball itself was amazing. That game against Serbia, that Serbian team could not miss. It was a bunch of dudes who looked like 6'5" and up. They just could. They hit every three. They hit every single three in the first half. They cooled off in the fourth quarter, and then Embiid had a massive run in the third and the early fourth quarter. Devin Booker, oh my God, Devin Booker was incredible. These entire Olympics, even the qualifying games, the showcase games, because he just knew his role. And they pulled up the tweet about how like, oh, I'll do it, mentioning to when Kyle Kuzma tweeted something about like we need someone who just knows their role on this Olympics team, and Booker said, I'll do it. And he did. And he did. He shot efficiently. He was smart with the ball. He had the assists. He was just a good guy to stand in the corner. And when called upon, he came through. It was massive. Anthony Davis was massive on the boards. Bam Adebayo playing great defense. And Anthony Edwards playing great defense. And maybe not an underrated moment, but one of my favorite moments from these Olympics is Anthony Edwards catching that lob from KD in the game against France and throwing it down for a dunk. Anthony Edwards has talked nonstop about how KD it really still is his idol in the NBA. He's constantly showed him love. He'll still trash talk him because that's who he is, but even then in the playoffs, he was smiling while trash talking to him because he was probably just filled with joy and emotion and adrenaline. And so to catch that lob from KD had to be just the ultimate feeling for Anthony Edwards. And even then, you see in all the clips and everything, he's always with them. He's always hanging out with KD. He's always trying to talk to him. He's always on his hip. He's always by his side. Even then, at the very end, when they're giving out the medals, it was Steph was the first one, then Anthony Edwards, and then KD and LeBron. So he's just kind of inserting himself in this group with all the older guys, all these all-time greats, just being around them, learning from them, and picking their brains and all, which was awesome to see. It looked like he had a great time, and I cannot wait for the documentary that comes out about this team. He is going to be the star. I'm so confident he will be the star. Drew Holiday even played well. I've loved Drew Holiday for a while, even though he is on the Celtics. He's just awesome. He's such a good player. He's such a good role player, such a good defender in everything that he does. Tatum, not great. But when he needed to defend, he could. Honestly, as funny as it was that he didn't play against Serbia, I thought he should have. I thought he was a better matchup defensively for Serbia than any of the guards, that even almost maybe Anthony Edwards, just because Tatum is a little taller than him, and all these Serbian guys were 6'5", 6'6", like I was saying. He could match up, he could switch on to anybody. He can somewhat defend Jokic if he needs to, just because he has that height and that strength where I think he would have matched up better defensively. So that one didn't make sense to me, did not play there, but it is what it is. They still won gold. Who cares? Derek White coming up clutch. Like I said, Embiid against the Serbian team, pretty much starting the comeback. Without Embiid playing so well and having 18 points in that third and fourth quarter, we don't get that ending with the KD ISO called by Melo from the top of the key. We don't get the Curry layup, the LeBron layup in fast break or in transition on the fast break. It's just watching that team was so much fun, and it was just such pure and quality basketball. Going back and watching or going to the NBA in a couple of months at this point and watching those games compared to these Olympic games that we just had, It's going to be night and day. And yes, it's because regular season games aren't that high, don't have that intensity level as these Olympic games do. Like, you saw how much it meant to the Serbian team just getting a bronze. They were going crazy once they won the bronze. You saw Jokic just partying all day with the team. Even then, they were crying after or Bogdanovic, who was going crazy that game, just talking trash to Melo, which I thought was wild. But you saw how much it meant to them. They were crying after they lost. The French team, Wembanyama, was crying after he lost to Team USA because it was in France. He wanted to win in his home country. I kind of took a second to sigh and shake my head because I had the thought in my mind of Wembanyama in 2028 and the French team playing in the Olympics in America, in Los Angeles. That's going to be tough. That's not going to be fun. I'm not looking forward to that. He's going to be so good. He's going to be so good. Scared. Hand up. Officially scared for Wembanyama in 2028. But that's not the point. We won these Olympics, and it was probably it's going to be the best Olympic team, men's basketball team that we have for a long time, just because of the stories behind it, and the main one being LeBron, KD, and Steph being the faces of the league for the last 10 plus years and coming together to play in one last Olympics and just not losing a game the entire time and bringing home gold. It was incredible. It was amazing. And I say all of this about this team because of the storylines, but then you look at the women's basketball team who hasn't lost in a decade, I think. Just a game. They've won 8 straight gold medals at the Olympics. And they also beat France in France. Beat the French in France. I guess that makes more sense. But our women's basketball team is crazy. And then in 4 years, we're going to be adding Caitlin Clark, Paige Beckers, Angel Reese, Cameron Brink, Juju Watkins. We're only getting better on the women's basketball side. Crazy. Watching that women's 4x400, Sydney McLaughlin. Oh my God, they smoked them, crushed them, destroyed them. It was unbelievable. It wasn't even close. I gotta see how many women for our United States team, just all teams in the Olympics. I want to see how many women won golds compared to the men's because it feels like the women were just carrying us these Olympics. Katie Ledecky and the women's swimming team. Obviously, our track and field team, our basketball team. I think our volleyball got silver, but we got our women's fencing team was incredible. I had no idea our women's fencing team was that good. My bad. Cycling or biking, whatever the technical word is for it. The woman who got gold that like only picked up cycling a couple of years ago and was added as a replacement for somebody. And she got gold. It was great. The Olympics, they were fun, done now. The storylines are always the best. And just seeing the emotion on people's faces, even from different countries, you see the emotion on their faces when they win a medal, a gold, even just some guys, some countries winning just a medal, just getting bronze. You see the emotion and they just lose it. It's awesome to see. So it was a great time. Can't wait for the Olympics in 2028. Worried about Wembanyama. Worried about Wemby. Scared, and nervous because he also has a brother who will probably be on the team. If you didn't know Wembanyama had a brother and I was the one to break the news to you, sorry. It's crushing. I know. It's tough stuff. It's tough to hear. But thank you for joining me on another episode of Believe in the Wolfpack, and we'll see you next time.